Foolio's home has been visited by pain and anguish for a considerable amount of time since his involvement in the tragic Jacksonville gang battle. Foolio's mother was shot 8 times as a result, in addition to being smoked at the conclusion.
So time goes by after you get shot 8 times. Are you ready to relocate after that? But yeah, man, forget this whole Jacksonville thing.
I'll walk you through everything that transpired in this video, including why Foolio's mother felt that the gunshot was the last straw. A lot of people have been talking about Foolio, one of Jacksonville's most contentious rappers, passing away unexpectedly during the past few months. The fact that Foolio's mom, Miss Sandriquez, was shot 8 times as a result of the fatal gang conflict in Jacksonville was unknown to the internet. Mom of Foolio miraculously avoided being shot. This powerful woman had been making the most all along. She had to deal not only with the hardships of raising her children in a dangerous neighborhood, but also with the gun violence that appeared to be a defining feature of this community.
So time goes by after you get shot 8 times. Are you ready to relocate after that? But yeah, man, forget this whole Jacksonville thing.
In this interview, Foolio's mother described how she was shot 8 times and had to flee her own home. She was terrified. She had to flee in order to protect herself. It was sad that she came dangerously close to death over a beef that she should not have been concerned about in the first place. People started talking negatively about Foolio's mom been shot 8 times. Just because this woman is Foolio's mother does not begin to explain the terror that she had to endure. Throughout her life, Miss Enriquez has been a teacher and an inspiration to those who she has taught. However, Foolio, her kid, terrified her.
In that, she became a victim. As you can see, she said she got shot 8 times. 8?
As terrifying as that may sound, Jacksonville regularly experiences something similar. Members of rival gangs never take the chance to shoot their mother when they visit one another's homes.
This is my mama's right up. They shot my mama's house. They shot this part right up. My mama was in the room. They shot that bitch up. My house always got shot. They always spent on my.
Yoongi Ace, Foolio's biggest opponent in Jackson, is always flaming, and his complaints about his mom's house did not exempt him from this threat. Yoongi Ace's mother was also impacted while Jacksonville was engulfed in a brutal gang war. Yoongi Ace verified that his mother was inside the house during the attack and demonstrated how her room had been shot through. Nevertheless, if Foolio had followed his mother's advice, all of these terrible battles would have been avoided. Miss Sandriquez, a peace-loving individual who constantly seeks to uplift others, cautioned her son Foolio to avoid becoming involved in street fights and instead concentrate on his music. She told of her attempts to get him off the streets.
I was so pissed off with him. Oh my gosh. I called him and cursed him out. I had other people call him. A lot of times these kids not gonna listen to their mother.
Foolio was one of those children that disregards their mother's advice. The main idea is that if Foolio hadn't been careless with his family's security, Foolio's mother wouldn't have become a victim of the street. Between his spats with Yoongi Ace, Foolio released a diss track on which, to demonstrate his fearlessness, he rapped out his home location. Foolio soon wallowed in regret.
Nigga spent on my house and shit like that, and my mama got hit one time.
To this day, it is difficult to discern how serious the beef is between Yoongi, Ace, and Foolio. However, it's crucial to remember that this altercation began back in 2014. The origin of the beef between Yoongi Ace and Foolio is actually unknown, but what is known is that both men have stated that it began as a misunderstanding that quickly turned into gun violence that disrupted public order in Florida and claimed lives.
What ultimately happened with your friend Bibby?
I go on Facebook. A little boy just got killed in the hilltop, like 16. So I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, he had on the uniform.
After the ATKs killed Foolio's best relative, Bibby, things became worse with the competing gangs' beef. Foolio was so devastated by Bibby's passing that he wrote a song in his memory. Police records state that Bibby was shot several times in his mother's home before he was killed. Perhaps even more agonizing for Foolio and Bibby's family was the disdain the ATKs showed after murdering the young child. On June 5, 2018, Foolio was filled with rage and prepared to exact revenge for his brother's passing. Yoongi Ace was out the same day with 2 other members of ATK, including his friend Kobe and his biological brother Kwang. All night they partied and enjoyed themselves. Yoongi Ace had no idea that his life was about to take an insane turn that would last a lifetime. The group had lunch at the Wasabi Japanese Steakhouse, and as a way to celebrate, they all shared photos of themselves on social media, which appeared to be the start of the entire momentous day. In an interview with Vlad, Yoongi and Ace related the awful events that transpired. He clarified that although the crew doesn't usually hang out in public, they decided it would be fun to go out and celebrate, a decision that Youngye and Ace still feels misgivings over.
We was coming from Wasabi. It was my little brother's 23rd birthday. We was just hanging out though. We had our guard down, that's what it was.
At the stoplight, an unknown driver reportedly pulled up and started shooting at Young and Ace and his brothers, according to the police. Although the authorities may refer to the drive-by gunman as unidentified, Young and Haas was aware of the actual source of the attack. Fortunately, despite having many bullets in his body, Young and Haas amazingly survived the shootout. He attempted to deflect the bullets aimed at his favorite cousin, 23.
My little brother, 23, my best friend. He really on the ground like college.
Regretfully, Corby and Quan did not survive the deadly catastrophe at the age of 23.
Royale Smith, this that 4X. Who else that is? Quan! Dun, dun, dun.
Since Foolio was Foolio, he didn't take long to disparage the deceased and claim credit for his actions. Foolio shared his triumph against the ATKs on Instagram, but the battle was far from done. You ought to be aware that it happened shortly after Foolio's mother was shot in her home.
Was that before you got shot 8 times or after?
After. I think that happened in June, and I got shot in August.
But the fight was far from done. Perhaps the bloodiest drill rap episode in Jacksonville's history occurred during the aftermath. One of the most contentious musicians spearheading a fresh hip-hop movement in Florida, Julio Foolio, was reportedly deceased on June 23rd, shortly after celebrating his 26th birthday, which he called the happiest birthday ever. Foolio was shot and killed. Someone who is unfamiliar with Foolio's lifestyle may find it upsetting to learn about his passing. However, to an insider or someone acquainted with Jacksonville's rap scene, this would be simply another murder.
The pool party start the day at 5, 6 o'clock. You already got the address, pull up, man. You got the address, pull up. If you need the address, DM me right now.
The final moments of Julio Foolio were caught on camera. Like the terrible occurrence with Yoongi and Ace, in which his buddies were killed, Foolio was found sliding. Although his birthday was on the 21st, he celebrated it through the 23rd. Foolio posted his location on the internet while celebrating.
Just got here, bruh. You got to add it. You got to add it, man. Push up. We just got to this bit. Tampa, Florida, man. You already got to add it to the pool party. Push up.
And his rival spotted an ideal window of opportunity to attack. Once the cops forced the party to leave the Airbnb, Foolio retired to the Holiday Inn Tampa and reserved a cabin for the evening. Sadly, Foolio was unable to enter the hotel. Upon his arrival, he was ambushed and repeatedly shot to death in the hotel parking lot. Reactions to Foolio's death were not unanimous, although his family and supporters deeply mourned him. With a number of diss tunes, his adversaries commemorated his death. His mother reacted with anguish, despair, and advice to other children who might be involved in the same situation. She described how her kid and his deadly rival got into an altercation on Instagram. Being the victim of the altercation, she described the story as one that only she could tell. She urged that the disses stop so that the deceased might rest in peace, expressing her contempt for those who had been trolling since his death.